Now, it is true that we are living in perilous times. We're living in uncertain times, and such times call for uncertain action, but action that should obtain certain consequences. And one of those actions is what countries across the world are doing. Countries have imposed lockdowns and shutdowns to limit the spread of the coronavirus. And the president a few days ago issued a curfew directive, which directive has seen Kenyans rush to their houses by 6:59. There are those who have called it the new Ineos challenge, 6:59:59. But what is critical is what the police have been doing in terms of enforcing the curfew order and curfew directives. The curfew order is stemmed in the Public Order Act. And there are those who have argued, and rightly so, that the Public Order Act is a colonial act, one that originated from the colonial period. That is true. The Public Order Act came from Act number 53 of 1960, established by the colonial masters. And the import and purpose of that act was to curtail the movement of Africans, so that the resistance movement then will not gain traction. And there have been very few times where a nationwide curfew has been issued. The most recent one, that is before this one in 2020, was the one in 1982 after the coup. And that was specifically to manage the coup, that the attempted coup in 1982. And so that curfew in 1982 was not meant to uphold human rights. In fact, what it achieved mostly was to abuse human rights further. That was not very far from what happened in 1960, the curfew order in 1960, the curfew order in 1961 and 62 before independence. And critical to what is happening right now is what the Public Order Act under Section 8 requires Kenyans and law enforcement officers to do. First, it requires that a curfew order directive can only be issued by a provincial commissioner or commissioner of police, which of course is not what happened in our case. But given the extenuating circumstances, the law can forgive that occurrence. But that said, Section 8 requires that a curfew order can operate within a limited jurisdiction, a limited area, and it requires citizens to remain indoors or in their places of residence for a certain period of time. It gives a certain number of days, 7 days, 3 and 7 days for continuous daylight hours in case the curfew goes on for that period. So what has been happening is unfortunate. If you remember, the first day the curfew order was given, the police were falling over themselves, trying to maim, trying to injure, trying to beat up Kenyans who had not gotten into their houses at that time. And that was unfortunate. The Constitution itself, under Article 24, requires that any limitation of right or fundamental freedom has to be done in a manner that is reasonable and justifiable in an open and democratic society, and also in a manner that is based on human dignity, equality, and freedom. And if you look at the way the police have been enforcing this curfew order, it goes against that requirement under Article 24. Human dignity has not been on the forefront of their actions. Equality has not been at the forefront of their actions. Freedom itself has not been their concern. And I have listened from the spokesman of police, Charles Owino, and he has been oozing something that is very far away from humility and public service, which is unfortunate in these circumstances, because police brutality should not be our focus, even remotely. We should be concerned about how we are going to stem the fallout from the economic fallout from the coronavirus, how we are going to limit the spread of the virus, and not how we are going to maim innocent Kenyans. So that is the first bit. The second bit is we have seen police use excessive force. There is police brutality, and then there is excessive force. That is just a step down from police brutality, and it is not in any way good, if I might use that description. So we've seen police officers get into compounds and estates of citizens, especially here in Nairobi, which is against the law, against the constitution, and even against the Public Order Act that they're alleging to enforce. So it is illegal for a police officer to get into your place of dwelling, into your residence, because this and Kenyans must know this. Unfortunately, in such times we tend to concentrate on things that do not really matter. But this is what Kenyans must know, that it is illegal for a police officer to get into your place of residence, into your dwelling place, with the intention and under the guise of enforcing the curfew directive. They are supposed to limit movement, and if that movement has already been limited to your place of residence and dwelling place, then that is enough. So I think the police are letting us down, and the president should really come out clearly and express himself on this issue. He has let people like the police spokesman, cabinet secretary for interior Matiang'i, to address the nation, yet he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and president of the Republic of Kenya. So if these things, and I assure you, the president is aware, he saw those video clips, he has watched the news, he knows what is going on. So if he's telling Kenyans by his silence that he has instructed the police to maim, then let us get that information clearly from him and not from his subordinates. The last thing that I would say about the curfew directive is there was a list of essential and non-essential service providers that was issued by the president and later reiterated by the Inspector General of Police. And we have seen police disregarding such directives. And that goes to show that this is what happens in the disciplined forces. Orders and directives are given top down. So if you see a constable or a police corporal enforcing a certain order or acting in a certain way, then be rest assured that they are following directives from above. And especially if this action is happening en masse, if you are seeing police all over the country behaving in a certain way, then it means that directives have come from their top leadership. So it is hypocritical for the government to say they are giving a list of essential services that will be exempt from this curfew order, yet the police will go ahead to beat up, to brutalize, and to limit movement of these essential service providers. And these essential service providers include food distributors. We have seen, and Kenyans have seen, police stop and beat up drivers of trucks which are bringing food into the city and across the country. This is very unfortunate.